Welcome to the Parkland Report. My name is Seamus Reilly, and joining me in this program, Eleni Kametas, General Manager of WPCD, the Parkland College radio station, and Rihanna Ellsbury, her assistant. Welcome to the Parkland Report. So, tell us a little bit about, first of all, WPCD, Parkland's radio station. It's a real radio station. It broadcasts out there. People can listen to it, right?
Yes, we are a real radio station. You can listen to us on your radio at 88.7. Or you can stream us live at wpcd.parkland.edu.
And what are we likely to hear if we tune into 88.7 The Wave?
A lot of what we play is independent alternative rock music. We claim that we're reinventing alternative because we're going to play rock music that you may not necessarily hear on commercial radio stations. So what else am I forgetting?
We make a pretty good effort to play new music, things that are just coming out and artists that people haven't heard of. So that you can really hear new music on our station.
So Rihanna, who's in charge of running the actual station? Who's the on-air talent?
The on-air talent, it's mostly students. The COM 141 class here at Parkland, they all have air shifts. So they do that, and then we also have a 142 class where they learn more about production, and they have air shifts also. And then we do have returning DJs, people who sort of want to stick around after they take those classes.
Eleni, can you tell me a little bit about the equipment that we have in the station? Where are we at compared to a commercial radio station?
Sure. I'd say that pretty much everything that we do in the radio station is equivalent to what students are going to then do at a commercial radio station. We have our audio console, we have our automation system, we broadcast live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We also have the ability to teach students how to voice track. All of our production equipment is also exactly what they're using at commercial radio stations. We use Adobe Audition for any kind of production assignments that we're creating. That's pretty much, we use Wide Orbit for our automation system. So it's definitely relevant stuff, for sure.
So Rihanna, how long does it take for a student to get comfortable enough to be on the air?
Really to learn the basics, it doesn't take that long. We normally sit with them for their first 2-hour shift. And then I would say to really get comfortable, it takes them 2 or 3 air shifts. But.
Once they get up and running, then how much latitude do they have in terms of what they're able to play with?
Well, in general, they just play from our playlist. Of course, if they want to add things in, they have our entire music library to select from. And then they can choose what promos they read during their air shift. And then, of course, they have their own personality, which they can use to sort of like shape what their air shift is like.
Exactly. A lot of the music that we play is what we receive from different record labels or promotional companies, and Rihanna and I, along with a few other staff members at the station, will listen to every single full-length CD that we get. We choose the 1 or 2 tracks from that we think our listeners will like best, and then we showcase that on the station. So the DJs are there, as Rihanna said, to practice their vocal abilities and to showcase this new music from these emerging artists. So.
Tell me a little bit about some of the special events that WPCD is involved in. I know that you've been involved in a number of the years. So recently, what have you been up to? We
were at the South by Southwest Music Festival in Austin, Texas. So we spent a week there listening to music, checking out new music, interviewing bands, meeting with radio contacts. Very, very busy there, I'd say. That was a fantastic time, and we definitely we were able to cover that for WPCD. We also got to attend the MTVU Woodies, so we went to their awards show, which was very cool, again, to cover that for the radio station. Let's see, anything else about South by Southwest or the Woodies that I'm forgetting?
I think that's about all about that.
South by Southwest is one of the biggest sort of music festivals in the country. So what kind of bands did you hear there in?
Well, there are bands of all sizes. We saw Say Anything, which is a pretty big band, but then we got to see a lot of new bands too, like Goldfields and Melismatics. So there's a pretty broad spectrum of bands there.
So tell me about some of the opportunities you had to interview or interact with different folks in the radio industry.
Well, like Eleni said, we met with some of our contacts, like from record labels. We went to the Equal Vision Records party.
Sub Pop has their showcase. It's really kind of cool because every single venue in Austin has something going on. any time of the day. And a lot of the record labels and promo companies will have showcases where they're playing artists like, for example, Gardens and Via, who just played the Pygmalion Music Festival last year. They have them play, and then they'll have new artists like You Won't, someone that maybe people haven't heard of yet, also playing. So it's a great way to see bands you really like, learn about bands you're eventually going to like, and then meeting with all of the people that you're talking to on the phone at least once a week, and you don't know what their face looks like. So it's it's a great networking opportunity for college radio stations.
And that's part of the business is sort of finding out what the best playlists are and getting the best bands and emerging
Sure.
bands on the playlist. And as obviously somebody who's reinventing alternative, you want to make sure that you're on the cutting edge. How do the producers and the folks involved in the industry, how do they react to college radio stations?
I think that not a lot of people really know what college radio stations do and just how important they really are, because a lot of what we do does determine what the music industry is going to be. We get to try out all those artists first and all that music and see what works and what doesn't work and what people like and don't like. For example, artists like Katy Perry, I mean, everybody knows who she is now. That's something that we're playing, I don't know, like 5 years ago. We got her first single. Same with the Plain White Tees. That's another group that is pretty popular now, and we've been playing them for years. So we kind of determine, I guess, what eventually is going to so-called make it, I guess.
And very much in a very sort of literal way, WPCD has been involved in actually having bands here on campus playing, as well as working with music festivals. Can you tell me a little bit about some of those opportunities?
Sure. Fortunately, yes, we have had some shows on campus. We've brought Matt and Kim, for example, Black Gold, So Many Dynamos. They also have come to campus. And as well as that, we've also had the Pygmalion Music Festival. We've been involved with that. We were presenting sponsors for 2011 and will be again for 2012. Very excited about that. Working on that now, all of the artists that will be coming in the fall. We also currently have our Pygmalion Music Festival Spring Show series. So just to get you excited about the shows that's going to be happening in the fall, we've got that happening now in the spring. We're bringing artists such as The Head and the Heart, Cursive, Ava Luna and Santa, Murder by Death, Elsinore, Common Loon. So this great fuse of local music as well as these big artists that are playing, they're touring nationally. So.
And there's also been some efforts to work with local bands, particularly in sort of like band competitions or participating in some of those pieces for students and young bands, right?
Right. We've had a battle of the bands in the past, and we make an effort to sponsor a lot of local shows, which sort of we help promote them basically so that people can know that they're happening and people can find out about these local bands that are just sort of getting started.
Where's the music industry going forward in terms? It seems like every time you look around, I mean, I just was listening this week, this YouTube sensation who is now has just released her first CD. How difficult is it to keep up with emerging talent? It seems like it changes so quickly.
That's a really good question. It does, but that's also what I love about it, is there's always something new kind of just around the corner, and fortunately we get our hands on it first. That's, personally what I love about college radio. I guess really anybody can kind of get a handle on that just by turning on their local radio station, their community radio station, their college radio station. Not being afraid to try out new artists that might be on RDO or Pandora or even any of those other internet streaming sites, just going to shows in town. There's so many local shows happening in Champaign-Urbana. And that's why I love it. So, just not being afraid to walk into any local venue and just checking out whatever artist it is that's playing there that night. So.
And the other thing that's come back, Rihanna, is house concerts now. I'm hearing more and more in Champaign-Urbana about more and more people having concerts in their house, in their basements.
Yeah, I do feel like that's something that's gotten more popular lately. I think it's nice because it's a way for people to be closer to the music as opposed to a larger venue where you might be far away and not able to see. So with a house show or a basement show, you're sort of right in there with the artist and with the other people that are there, and it's just a sort of more intimate, I guess, thing.
Do you find that, Eleni, that more people are becoming more interested in radio now than there were before, maybe because of the sort of incredible explosion of different alternative ways in which you can participate in music, or either as a listener or as a player. It seems like there's a real rejuvenation in terms of like how radio works.
Yeah, and that's something that I'm personally really excited about, since I work in the radio industry. But yeah, I think that getting that music out there that typically wouldn't be on the radio is one way that we might be able to do that, and that's something that ultimately, we're hoping to do. We want the person who's going to listen to their iPod or going to listen to listen to their CDs to eventually, or occasionally, turn on 88.7 as well and listen to us. And I think that that's been happening, and that's the ultimate goal, is to get people listening. So.
The other big change with radio, because with TVs now we got, you can DVR, you can stop it, and radio still is pretty much a sort of a live, continuous sort of stream of information and music. But the streaming has made it a lot more portable as a listening device.
Yeah, I think that it used to be like a lot of people would only listen to radio in their car, like when they were driving to work or school or something. But now that we have the stream, people can listen to it like at home or wherever they are, as long as they have a computer. Even a lot of like iPods and phones and things of that nature have streaming capabilities too. So it just makes it much more available.
Yes, you can listen to us on your phone.
Oh, excellent. I need to get an app for that then, right?
You will.
Excellent. So what do you see coming forward? Apps and listening on the phone, that's just, there's been such a transformation since you arrived. I just can't imagine anything moving quicker than it has moved. But where's the future for radio?
Wow, there's so much that we still want to do specifically for the radio station, and that we're working on constantly every day. We're nowhere near, we have goals, but we're nowhere near meeting them just yet. I guess just continuing to do what we're doing, trying to showcase as much new music as possible, trying to get students as much experience as possible. And I guess just trying to get as many artists even in the station as we can. What else do you think?
We're also trying to engage listeners with social networking,
exactly.
Facebook and Twitter and things like that. Really, we just want more people to be aware and be involved.
Well, we're very glad that you're here at Parkland College, looking at the even newer alternative music and promoting everything that their students do here and what local bands are doing and what emerging talent is. So thanks very much for being here.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this short break.
Get the ball rolling to a new career with an Eastern Illinois University degree at Parkland College.
Parkland and Eastern really made it work for me.
Now I'm taking Eastern classes on Parkland's campus. I'm working on my bachelor's degree from Eastern without commuting.
Thanks to Parkland and Eastern, I'm reaching my goals.
For more on Eastern at Parkland, call 217-351-2543.
We ready to go? We ready for a groundbreaking? Outstanding. It's my pleasure to welcome all of you here today. It's an auspicious day, a day that we have been waiting for so very, very, very long. I heard just a few minutes ago that within a week or so, maybe as soon as Monday, You'll all be standing in what will be a gigantic hole in the ground. We began in 2007 working on a master plan. Through the support and vision of our Board of Trustees, we developed and worked on a 3-phase master plan. And I'm very, very pleased to tell you that we're most of the way through that plan. The first project that was finished was the diesel addition to the Tony Knoll Center. Within a couple of weeks, we'll open the doors to our Applied Technology Center and our Fitness Center, which is attached to the Donald Dodds Athletic Center. Very excited about those projects. So if you're not doing anything in a couple of weeks, we'll invite you back for ribbon cuttings for those buildings. You may know that our enrollment is growing tremendously. And all along the way, we've remodeled, renovated this fine campus, all new roofs, lights, painting, carpeting, signage is going in today, and the list continues. But the hallmark, the focal point of our campus master plan is and has always been the Student Services Center. A front door, a visual representation to the entrance of our campus, a thoughtful and coordinated starting place for all of our students. It will be a masterpiece. And when it's completed, especially at night, I think you'll agree with me when you see it, it will be a shining beacon in West Champaign. We have some special guests with us today that I'd like to invite to the podium, and we'll begin with the chairman of the Parkland College Board of Trustees, Mr. James Ayers. He also serves as chairman of the Foundation Board, and he'll share a few remarks with you. Mr. Ayers.
Welcome. It's been a long time in coming for this project, but when we get it finished, it will be truly a showcase for our community college. I'd like to introduce the Parkland Board of Trustees who are here today, and if you could hold your applause till all of them have been introduced, then we can recognize all of them. Tom Bennett is from Gibson City. He's our vice chair. Mrs. Donna Gertz, I saw her a few minutes ago, is here. Bonnie Kelly, Greg Knott, Dana Trimble, Lyndon Warfel, and our student trustee, Ray Gutendorf. So let's thank them for their service.
Well, you might have guessed that a number of people have been involved in the planning and design of this project, and I would be remiss if I didn't thank a special group of folks. Many of you are here today, and that is our student services directors and staff. If you're on the student services staff, please raise your hand. Let us give you a round of applause. These are the folks that did the hard work. They sat in all those meetings designing the space down to what seemed like, I'm sure, inches, picking out colors, deciding who was located next to whom and which hallway they were going to be in, and most importantly, who had the window. I think everybody gets a window in this building. There is one special person, though, that I'd like also to bring to the podium who has invested a significant amount of her life in the design of this building, and I think I saw Mickey here. He'll agree with us. There he is. He's agreeing. And that's Dr. Linda Moore, who's our Vice President for Student Services. Linda, absolutely. This was Linda's project. This is Linda's project. This will continue to be Linda's projects for the next 18 months. And someday in 20 whatever, when she retires, it will continue to be her project. Linda moved faculty, staff through the process of all those meetings, both internally and externally, with architects, designers, interior designers, our civil engineers, our electrical engineers, all of whom are here today, and I'll introduce in a little bit. But let me give Dr. Moore an opportunity to talk with you about her vision for this facility and her process. Dr. Moore.
Do you ever have one of those days where you've smiled so much your face hurts? This is one of those. Well, I, of course, want to echo all of Dr. Ramage's thanks, but of course he's neglected to thank one more important person, and that is himself. I think we all know that it was sort of the vision and the persistence and the optimism and the careful planning from both our president and our board of trustees that's brought us to this incredible event today. So thank you, Doctor. I'd also like to thank the director of our physical plant, Jim Bustard, who, along with all of these architects and engineers, continues to very patiently answer every question I come up with about building materials and construction processes, which some of you know was not my academic area of study. Anyway, we're also delighted that our Board of Trustees had the judgment and foresight to select the architectural firm of Perkins & Will, and I thank them for being here today too. In the spring of 2010, the creative talent at Perkins & Will began meeting with a team of Parkland people who would one day inhabit the new building. And they and we also met with our students, both some of our traditionally aged students and also our adult returning students. And through a number of discussions that were both in person and through video conferencing, questionnaires, phone calls, emails, Perkins & Will helped us identify our 5 key objectives for this building, no matter the size, shape, or design features. So first, everyone gave thoughtful consideration to the first-time visitor to Parkland, especially if that visitor is unfamiliar with or even anxious about the world of higher education. And Senator Frericks mentioned that just a few minutes ago. We've all heard those questions. Where do I park? Which door should I enter? So objective number 1 was this building will provide a welcoming and identifiable front door to the campus. Objective number 2, pride. This building will celebrate our history and traditions while also reflecting Parkland's progressive attitude. It will reinforce our expectation that Parkland be a premier institution celebrating lifelong learning. Objective number 3, sustainability. All of our teams envisioned a light, bright, and open building, built and appointed with beautiful, durable, cost-effective materials and energy efficient over its lifespan. Parkland people, say this with me. The mission of Parkland College is to engage the community in learning. And our 4th objective, our 4th objective is engagement. The building will provide an enriching and inviting environment that encourages student engagement and supports programming for new and continuing students. And objective number 5, flexibility. The technology and infrastructure needs of 2012 are different from those of 1973 when this original campus opened. And the needs of future students and employees will be different from those we see today. So our architects have helped us plan spaces that are adaptive and flexible, efficient and effective. As we see this building come out of the ground in the coming months, I think you'll see how these 5 objectives are manifested. In every meeting with each employee, in which we were challenged with nitty-gritty details, these objectives guided our decision making. Now, most of you know that each wing or building at Parkland is identified by a letter of the alphabet. The new Student Services Center will be identified by the letter U. And I can think of several good reasons for this. One is that many other letters of the alphabet have already been taken. Okay. The second is that while we try to create student space wherever we can throughout our campus, this new building will be the closest thing we have to a student or campus union. So you. So not only will we locate services for students in proximity to each other on the 2nd floor of this building, but the 1st floor will provide space for student life and activities, the bookstore, and the main campus food service. And speaking of food service, in a few minutes you'll have the opportunity to appreciate the creations of our new campus food service provider, Food for Thought, which has catered today's event. So. Food for Thought was selected in a competitive process involving input from students, employees, and our Board of Trustees. And we're glad to welcome this Illinois-based company that shares Parkland's values of excellence and sustainability. Now back to that U on the building. There's one more justification for our new building being designated U, and I direct this to our students. Students, the building is about you. Every planning discussion always came back to what will make the most sense to our students and appeal to them. What will be most effective in supporting our students' development and success. So we thought it would be interesting to you to hear something about that from the student's perspective. So I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Tyler Cravens, who has served this past year as the president of Parkland Student Government. Tyler is from Monticello and has shown all of us this year what it means to be a collaborative, ethical, open-minded, thoughtful, dependable, witty, and visionary leader. Tyler has been a stellar student, is graduating from Parkland this May, and my understanding is that another institution of higher ed in town will benefit from his enrollment this fall. Tyler Cravens.
She might have went a little overboard there, but thank you, Dr. Moore. They told me that this new Student Service Center was going to blow us away, but I did not know they meant literally with today's wind. One of the two things I am most excited about here is what Dr. Moore touched on with Food for Thought. We selected an excellent company this year, and we're very eager to put them into an excellent facility. No more cramped spaces and lines, no more limited food selection. That company will really be able to fill out this new space to its fullest, and we're truly excited about that. Along with the cafeteria space being modern, open, and actual having visible light in our cafeteria. That'll be great. Student government, student life, student organizations, and the student newspaper and student activities are all contained in the area roughly the size of my house. 3 people live in that house. We have thousands of students that partake in our activities, our government, and newspaper, and organizations. But soon, student life will get enough space to do their jobs efficiently, comfortably, and with enough storage for all of the things that we like to buy. Student organizations will have unprecedented adjustable meeting spaces, which will allow them to grow, meet, and communicate like never before. The student newspaper will have an amazing new space as they continue and improve the newspaper, the prospectus. Student activities from student life, student organizations, and student government will have expanded space to put on increasing and outstanding programs. We may still be in the present, but as students, we are already putting the past in the past and looking towards the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Moore. Thank you, Tyler. Very much appreciate your comments. I'd like to extend our thanks again to our Board of Trustees for their vision, their support throughout this campus planning process. This is undoubtedly a very special moment in Parkland's history, and the people at Parkland College are actually what makes it exceptional. So thank you, all you employees of Parkland College, for doing what you do on a daily basis. And thank you all for sharing the day with us.